and welcome to a new episode of From the Honeycomb podcast. I am your host, Katerina. Each week, we dive into a blend of topics that resonate with the soul. Whether you're an architect enthusiast, have a passion for Wanderlust, want to discover holistic approaches to rejuvenate your body and mind, or are intrigued to learn about Vastu Shastra with a modern approach, you've come to the right place. Join me as I sit down with inspiring, like-minded women from various walks of life. We will delve into their journeys to discuss the challenges and moments that define their paths. So sit back, relax, and let the spark of positive energy ignite your curiosity. And so welcome to the first solo episode of 2024. I am just so happy to be seated here with you. And today's episode, I want to start it off a little differently. I know we're going to talk about my word of the year of 2024, but before we do so, I want you to get cozy, to get comfortable. So I'm wrapped around in my blanket because it's cold and my space heater makes too much noise for the recording. So I'm just wrapped up in a blanket in my favorite sweatshirt, which is my Aloha Lovely rainbow crew neck sweatshirt. Shout out to Aloha Lovely. I'll provide a link in the show notes if you want this crew neck. This is not an advertisement or paid promotion. I just absolutely love Aloha Lovely's products. Also, Aloha Lovely, Julie from Aloha Lovely has been on the podcast. But I'm in my favorite sweatshirt. I'm cozied up. I'm in sweatpants. I just made myself a cup of tea and my favorite mug. So I guess I'm going to shout out to some of my favorite products here is my Mindful Potter mug that so both Julies. Thank you, Julie and Julie, for semi-sponsoring today's episode, but Julie from the Mindful Potter, her Candace mug is my favorite mug. I use it when I record. It fits so much tea, and I want to make sure that my voice is nice and clear for today's episode. So I've got my big mug of tea here with me. I've got my crystal. I am sitting all cozied up, and I just want you to feel cozy as well. So if you need to pause the episode and get cozy as well, just bring your favorite drink, wrap yourself in a blanket, maybe bring your journal too, because we're going to be talking about, reflecting and manifesting for 2024. So get comfortable before we begin the episode. So, as you know, we begin every episode by sharing something that we are grateful for in the present moment. And so, I'd like to share with you what I'm grateful for in the present moment. And I know I've said it on other podcast episodes, but it's this podcast. And I feel so lucky to be able to connect with so many incredible people around the world and share their story and get to ask them questions. I'm so curious. I'm always interested to learn about new things. And I just love the connection that I've been creating and the community that has been built and the people that have been introduced to each other and connected together. I am just so, so grateful for this platform. And, I know we're on episode 100 and I don't know what episode this will be, but I think it's episode 114, 15 or something like that. And I am just so grateful, first off, too, also for anybody who has been listening from the beginning, who has joined me throughout any of the episodes and has continued to listen, because this podcast is my creative outlet. And the bonus is I get to connect with other people. And so I just am so grateful for the community, for all the listeners, for all the downloads. And I know at the end of 2023, I made some lists. I was in the top 100 architecture podcasts in one list. I think I made the top 10 or top 20 architecture podcasts in another list that someone put together for architecture podcasts. And that was just absolutely incredible to see, because it's also so rewarding when you put so much effort into something that's creative, that's so fun. And then you get rewarded by finding out that so many people are resonating with what you're sharing, what you're putting out there. And that is it's just created this huge sense of gratitude for me. So that is what I am grateful for in 2024, starting off 2024. And I'm just so grateful for you, the community, for you sitting down, listening to this episode, wherever you are, just getting cozy and getting ready for 2024 with me. In previous years where I've started with the word of the year, I have always recorded in December, actually. So that's a little behind the scenes for you. I've always recorded ahead of time to make sure that that's the first episode that comes out in January. And this year I wanted to do it a little differently because this year I really wanted to sit with that word for a little bit of 2024, of the year that the word is going to be used in, to make sure that I feel the energy and that when I'm recording, I can really feel the energy of the year and, see kind of just how I'm feeling, how, what did I end up manifesting? What do I want to manifest in this next year? What are my goals? And let that word manifest itself and see if I still resonate with that word in the first few weeks of the new year. So that's why this episode is coming out at the end of January rather than at the beginning of January, because I just wanted us to also all, experience this new year for a little bit, get a little settled, get a little comfortable. I know I posted an Insta story at the beginning of the year. I feel like the first week of the new year is like this trial, like this free trial. Let's kind of figure out, do we like this year or not? Just we're kind of getting over the hangover of the holidays, right? Of all of the feelings from the foods, the parties, the socializing, the consumerism, just there's just so much energy that goes into December. And I think some of us may feel hungover, coming into January and wanting to push and start and just feel fresh. And this year, I really wanted to focus in also on the yin energy of winter. And last year, I had a guest on, Annette Verenbald, and we talked about the changing of the seasons and how to really harness the energy of the season that you are in. And so that's what I'm also doing this winter. I'm really focusing on, I have my list of goals for this year, but I'm also tapping into that yin energy, that feminine energy of the winter months, and allowing myself to flow through this time of the year. Yes, checking things off my to do list, but without such added pressure. And so that's why we're here. Again, why we're here at the end of January. I wanted us to really just feel the month of January. And so we had that free trial the first week. The second week, I feel like we just hit the ground running in January. Just the second week of January this year felt like, to me, the first week of January typically. And so now that we've kind of had a chance to really, marinate in this energy of 2024, I want to share with you my word of the year. Now, I did share this word with my newsletter subscribers. So if you are a newsletter subscriber, you know that my word for 2024 is create. And last year, my word was growth. The year before that was surrender. Every year, I pick a word that I think will resonate with whatever it is I want to accomplish that year. Rather than doing, resolutions or just making a list of goals, I want a word that I can tap into throughout the year that will help me when I'm facing a challenging time or I feel like I just need that little extra push or motivation. So there's just this word I can kind of lean on. And it's really the overall theme of whatever the year is. So again, last year was growth. I really wanted to grow my business. Boy, did it grow. I planted the seeds in spring. By the end of spring, I was laid off and my business was, had to be up and running. But having that word growth to reflect on throughout the year really helped me with accomplishing a lot of the goals that I had set out for myself. So for 2024, I chose the word create because as I was putting together my list of goals for this year, for 2024, I was sitting down and I was thinking, and this year I also did it with my business hat on, right? A business aspect is I looked at my goals, not just here's what I want to achieve all next year, and taking lessons I've learned from 2023 is focusing on the quarters of the year. So first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. That's my business hat on, right? Thinking about the quarters in a business sense. But then going back to the seasons, I'm thinking about the seasons. Quarter one is the winter season. Quarter two, spring season. Quarter three, summer. Quarter four, fall. And remembering that each season has its own energy and has its own kind of vibes, I guess you could say. I think that's what the young kids are saying now. The vibes of that season is and making sure that my goals resonate with that season as well. So like I said, winter season, it's this yin season. So I didn't want to push myself right out the front, like right out of 2024. Like these are all the things I need to accomplish. But really take a step back and go, no, the first 3 months of 2024, here's everything that I want to create. And so I made my goals for each of the quarters. And of course, focusing on the biggest goals, the most energy consuming, tapping into that summer energy, that masculine energy, I saved those goals for spring and summer, mostly summer. Also knowing that when does the construction season in California, we're pretty lucky, we can do construction all year round, but there is still a difference when you think about nobody was signing up projects. I wasn't signing up projects. People weren't even thinking, clients weren't even thinking about starting a new project the weeks before Christmas, right? So I also want to think about what are other people doing as homeowners, because I work in high-end residential. Are homeowners, when do they want to start a project? Probably not in December. So quarter four for me, I have different goals to create different things rather than, in the summer or the spring. Even the first part of the new year, people are thinking about starting their projects. And so thinking about that as well helped me create this list of goals. So for each quarter, I have a list of goals. And as I was making these goals, I noticed this theme of create. I wanted to create something. I've talked about it on social media. I want to create a passive income this year. So when can I create that? When can I set myself up to succeed in creating that without burning out, right? And actually, I am working on this passive flow of income, this thing that I cannot wait to share with all of you, and I will be sharing it in the upcoming February newsletter, is I'm working on a passive income. And I wanted it, actually, the first date that I wanted was to be on my work anniversary. The anniversary of when my company, well, really, the anniversary of when my company became legal, I guess, when it was incorporated, when it was, in the legal system, and that's February 6th. But looking at how January was going, looking at some of the things I had coming up, I thought, no, old me would have pushed forward and been like, you know what, you have to create this by this date. This is a great time. But, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I barely have anything in place. The foundation of this project is barely in place the second week of January. I don't want to burn myself out on this project, this fun, creative project that is going to create a passive income for me. And so I've actually moved the date to another time, which will make sense, and you'll learn about it in my newsletter. Again, putting a plug for that. So, and you can subscribe to my newsletter in the links in the show notes. But so I'm working on that. But there with that goal, I had this goal and I thought, which quarter do I need to put it into? And that's how I kind of started thinking about different things that I wanted to do throughout the rest of the year. And like I said, I wanted to create. So I'm creating this passive income. So each quarter, I'm creating something. And I know the amount of times I'm going to say create in this episode, but I really just want to create so much this year, so much with my business. I have the foundation of my business, I have clients, but yet now I want to build on that growth that I created. I guess there we go. On the growth that I guess I could say I created that growth of 2023. Now I want to take that growth and create more with it and build off of it and really just flourish in my goals. So now I want you to take a moment and reflect on what your word for 2024 is going to be. And that word, whatever that may be, it could be the first word that comes to your mind. Just think about what you want to do this year. Maybe you want to travel more. Maybe adventure is your word. Or maybe you are feeling burnt out from 2023 and you're like, mindfulness is going to be your word for 2024. Whatever that word is. And maybe you're driving right now, so you can't get out a piece of paper and pen or your journal and start journaling. But even take a moment to think about what this word is going to be for you. And if you are someone who has created a list of goals for 2024, or a list of, maybe you do New Year's resolutions, whatever it is that you've created for 2024, use that as well to help you, see if there's like a theme. Like I said, I started to see a theme where all of my goals were about creating something. And that's how the word create came to be, because I knew I wanted to create. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to really tap into that, feminine creative energy and just create, because I had spent so much time last year tapping into masculine energy, getting my business set up, getting the bank account set up, getting incorporated, getting an accountant, getting contracts set up, using all of that. That to me wasn't fun, creative energy at all. A lot of the beginning of last year was a lot of, doing things that I was really out of my comfort level because it was things I hadn't really used. It was, having meetings at a bank, asking, hey, can I open up a business account here? And really advocating for myself. And then going out there and getting work and getting jobs and projects for my company. And that took a lot of the masculine energy. And so this year, I really want to tap into just being creative and flowing into just having fun and being artsy and trying, new things. Like, I mean, just having fun and being able to create. And that's what I really want to tap into the energy of 2024. So I know this is going to be a short, sweet little episode for you guys because after you've listened to this, I want you to really sit down, reflect, or maybe go for a walk. Maybe you're, someone who likes to think about your word for 2024 and really take a moment. I know there's so much reflection that happens at the beginning of the year. At the end of 2023, we're all reflecting on how the year was. Then what are we thinking about for 2024? But guess what? We've now experienced 1/12 of 2024. So maybe that word that you had created in January 1st is different than the word you want to use for this year because something may have shifted in your life. Something may have made you think and pivot in another direction. Maybe a new opportunity or a challenge has come up or something that you're like, well, I've already committed to something. No, it's okay. No one's going to sue you if you don't use your own word that you selected. You can change your words. And maybe you even have fun with it and you do a different word for every season or every quarter of the year and have that be the word for whatever it is that you want to establish and accomplish in that time. So whatever that is, I want you to take some time, go for a walk, think about it, meditate on it, journal on it, take a bath, relax and really just let whatever words come to you. And it could be multiple words, it could be a sentence, it could be a phrase, it could be, whatever it is. But let that theme of this year kind of come in and see what comes up for you. And as I've done every year, we'll do a check in about halfway through the year and we'll kind of check in on the word. Is that word still resonating? You may have to, halfway through the year go, gosh, this word, it's just life has changed. Again, something's made you pivot, and so now you're doing something else. Halfway through the year, we are going to reconnect and we're going to talk about our word. And then at the end of the year, we're also going to connect and I'll have an episode reflecting on, was this the word of the year? Maybe my word will change as well. And maybe I'll be like, yeah, this word, it didn't really fit with whatever ended up happening, right? Because something came up in life. And so by allowing us to have these times of the year to really sit and reflect on whatever that word is, then we can kind of, it's a nice check in because I think a lot of us make these goals, make these, resolutions for the year, and then we forget about them. And then, come towards the end of the year, we realize, oh my gosh, there's so much we wanted to accomplish, but we didn't. And why not? And so by giving us, the space to check in halfway through the year and just be like, yeah, where do we think we are? And just remember, this isn't something that you're being graded on. This is meant to be a tool that you can use. Like I said, I use my word of the year as a tool for if something comes up in life that, throughout the year or some event or a situation. And I'm like, well, what is my theme for this year? What would this theme, how would it affect whatever decision I'm about to make or whatever, just think of this. It depends on what your word is, I guess I should say. So, but think about your word. This is a nice, short, sweet episode. I wanted you guys to spend more time reflecting on your word for 2024. And I'm excited to see what comes up and what comes up for you. Feel free to email me. I'd love to hear all of the words that you guys end up selecting, or sentences, or themes, or whatever it is. And so please share with me. You can email me at honeycombbeeblog@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram. I'm pretty active there at From the Honeycomb Podcast, and share with me your word and tell me a little bit about why you selected that word. I'd love to hear from you because I've just shared with you my word, create, for 2024, and I'm so curious to know what words have come up for you as well. So thank you so much for listening to the first solo episode of 2024. I'm excited for this year. I'm just so excited. I cannot wait to connect with you more. As I mentioned, there are so many incredible guests coming on. I just cannot wait to share them with you. There's just so much happening as well. I'm creating so much behind the scenes from the Honeycomb podcast that I cannot wait to share with you. And be on the lookout for my little passive income project, which I'm just so excited about that. I don't know if I should tease it or not, because people have actually been asking me about kind of this topic. And so I've already been kind of sharing the secret with a few people, but I'm super excited about it. It's super fun. It's something I've never done before, never created before. And so I'm challenging myself with it, but I'm also being very graceful with my deadlines because I want this to be something that's fun. I have my deadlines for work, for projects, to keep clients happy, but this is something that I want to create with joy, and I want it to reflect in the work, in the energy of the work that I put into it. But that's enough about that. Subscribe to my newsletter and you will find out what it is. In the meantime, go out, enjoy, the energy of 2024. Hopefully I'm recording this episode like 2 weeks early, so who knows what the world's going to look like in 2 weeks, but I just know that whatever word that you choose is going to help you throughout this year. It's going to be your theme for the year. So take some time to think about it, and I'm sure the word is going to be great. It's going to be perfect for you. So thank you again for listening to this episode, my first solo episode of 2024. And I cannot wait to connect with more of you. So please let me know what you think about this episode. And yeah, I look forward to the next solo episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of From the Honeycomb podcast. As we conclude, I want to express my gratitude for joining me in today's episode. I hope you have found it insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and click that like button so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to share this with your friends. You can follow me on Instagram at From the Honeycomb Podcast, and you can also further your support of From the Honeycomb by visiting the Patreon link provided in the show notes. Your contribution helps make more episodes possible. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to my monthly newsletter, A Spark of Positive Energy, that comes out on the 7th of each month. Thank you so much, and see you next Friday.